Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of me being sick, but we don't have time for that because of course Brawl Stars is updating their game soon and there is a lot of news to go over today. There are balance changes now to a bunch of brawlers that weren't mentioned previously and weren't included in the previous balance changes from I think a week ago, where only Kenji and Lumi got nerfs. There's also an elo change to ranked above legendary 3 and a matchmaking change. So any masters players or pro players might have some interesting new experiences in ranked. We'll have to take a look and see how that goes. Guys, maybe the push to pro will be easier than ever. Surely. I swear, once I get better and I can stream again, I'm gonna lock the fuck in. So first, let's just start off with the balance changes. I'm going to cover everything that's going to pertain to ranked, and then I'll also actually go over some MOBA balance changes for anyone who is curious at the end of the video. So stick around if you care at all about Brawl Stars League of Legends, or don't if you don't care about Brawl Stars League of Legends. Anyways, with that out of the way, let's jump right into now the nerfs. Starting off with Lumi. That's right, guys. Lumi's been so broken for so long. She's been banned first every single time in pro play. Everyone is sick of seeing her all the time in her game. She's actually permabanned, and now she's getting a hypercharge too, which is a huge buff. So of course they're gonna nerf Lumi, right? To compensate, they're gonna nerf that brawler, right? What's that? Lumi's not getting a nerf? What the fuck? Alright guys, yeah, so Lumi's not getting nerfed and she's getting a hypercharge, so she's actually getting buffed. That's what that means. She's getting a buff this update, if you can believe it. Congrats to Lumi, a very well deserved brawler. But jokes aside, okay, the real nerfs are starting with Fang. He's been banned and picked quite a decent amount in pro play. I think a lot of more mid-ladder players are not even seeing him in their games because they kind of forgot about him. With his nerfs now, he takes a little bit more positioning and game knowledge to actually make him work. He is counterable too, especially if you're not good at playing Fang, and if you're in an elo where people are not generally that good at positioning, he's just not going to be seen that much. But he is really, really strong right now if you know how to play him and know how to build teams around him. And so he's getting a small nerf to his shield gadget, which gave him a really big damage reduction, and it was only on a 15-second cooldown. You could spam it. It's now being increased in its cooldown to 18 seconds. That basically changes nothing, I'm going to be honest. Let's be real, guys. Every time they nerf a cooldown on a gadget, it doesn't do anything. It literally does nothing. B is still basically as strong as she was when the gadget rework first happened. Lumi's gadget is still broken. Gray's gadget is still, you still use the hook, and he's still, one of the best brawlers in the game right now. It's, the smallest nerf ever just to, say that they did a nerf. But, most people weren't freaking out about Fang anyways. There's one other particular brawler that people were more concerned about now after the nerfs to Kenji Hypercharge. But now she's also getting buffed, so that basically undid all of that. So, whatever. Anyways, Fang, sick nerf. Good, cool beans. And next up, we have a nerf to Chester, Chester the bester. He's the besterest ever to do it. And his super recharge rate is getting nerfed by, it looks like, 20%. So I think the main point of this is basically from that hypercharge, where when you hypercharge, you can throw a nuke on someone and then get a second nuke if it hits, and then throw that on someone and then chain that on their whole family until you eventually wipe out their bloodline. That has been nerfed by 20%, guys. So now he has to hit a couple more pellets on someone before he can go for an actual ethnicity cleanse. But a nerf is nice. I think they just need to nerf the poison damage and also maybe the range of the poison. And now we're talking with a real nerf. Same with Kenji Hypercharge, guys. Let's start looking at nerfing the effect a little bit, please. He's still probably going to be good. And then following that nerf, we also actually have a nerf to Gus. Surprising. He's one of the best brawlers in the game right now. Unironically, he's not banned because he's not he doesn't take over the game, but he's really easy to use and he's really, really strong in every situation. So you can just go him first pick, last pick, whatever the fuck pick. I would say he's a great investment right now because this nerf basically does not much. It decreases the charge rate on his hypercharge from 2.5 supers to more around 3, a little less than 3. I think that just means it's going to take maybe 1 or 2 extra hits to really get that hypercharge, but it doesn't matter. Gus, you get your hypercharges pretty frequently anyways because you just land a lot of hits with Gus, because Gus's attacks are as fat as your mom's dump truck, and it is absolutely it's just They're just so thick. They're hard to dodge. I don't know. Playing against Gus is pretty miserable. Playing Gus is super fun though. So highly recommend you dump all of your resources into Gus if you feel like just having a great ranked brawler. I should probably stop glazing up a random child and move on now to the next nerf in Jackie, the driller lady herself. Her health is being decreased by 600 at max level. I don't know if this nerf was necessarily the most necessary. Like, you don't really see Jackie that much. I suspect this might have more to do with Brawl Arena than with Ranked, I'm gonna be honest, because she's still really good there. I guess now, you know, in sneaky fields and that one Brawl Ball map, she's gonna be less of a worthwhile option. Cool. I'm actually glad. I don't like playing against Jackie. Circle attacking brawler should not be strong. That's my hot take of the video. Fuck Jackie. And then for the last of the nerfs, we have a nerf to Juju, which is actually kind of strange. I'm not sure why. Her super charge rate is being decreased slightly, so it's going to take an additional hit to get her super from what it was. Like, forgive me if I'm wrong, guys, but I believe Barley is low-key used way more than Juju right now as a thrower. Honestly, I think I've seen more Dynamites in my rank games as like a thrower to counter Hank than Juju herself as a thrower to counter Hank. By the way, both of those brawlers do good in the Hank if you're wondering, and I think Buster too. But yeah, I just don't see Juju. I don't know. I guess Dynamite is getting that Pro Pass skin, so he can't get a nerf. So I guess they're just gonna nerf Juju, and we've all forgotten about Larry and Laurie because yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Juju nerf is weird. I guess she's gonna be a little bit worse now. And with that wraps up the nerfs, and now let's bring us over to the buffs. Oh boy, so exciting. Starting off, we actually have a buff to the old man Gale. He's getting buffed. Opposite thing from Chester, his super charge rate from dealing damage with the super is actually increasing, and it's increasing by 20%, which is actually huge. That's actually kind of big, because if you guys remember way back in the day when Gale's hypercharge first came out, right, it was like the most broken thing ever. You could cycle it on people and like perma-stun people against walls and deal double damage. It was like insane. And then since then they nerfed the super damage, so now it does less damage when you like push people up against the wall with an old man now. They also nerfed how quickly you can get the hypercharge in like in his charge rate, and they also nerfed the super recharge rate from his super by like 20-something% or something. So now when you super people, you get a lot less of your super back from it, and especially when you hypercharge and, you know, line people up with it, you weren't able to like perma-stun people against walls. I think this buff by 20% doesn't quite make up for the nerf you got, but it still is pretty big. So we might see the old man make a slight comeback. Hold your breath on that. Crow is also getting another buff. His HP is increasing by 800 at max level, which sounds like a lot. I mean, that's almost a shield gear worth of HP. So now he can have, is that like 6,500 HP now with shield gear on, which most Crows usually go? That's a pretty substantial amount of HP. That's more than Lumi. No, actually, no, that is exactly Lumi's HP. I take that. That is exactly Lumi's HP. Crow right now is in a weird spot where he has some decent utility. Like the poison is always really annoying, and his slow is still pretty solid. It's just he doesn't do a lot of damage, and he also doesn't stay alive for that long just because everything else also does so much damage now. So instead of buffing up his damage by any way like his, you know, Wasabi power did, they decided to just try to buff up his HP and see if he'll stick to the meta anywhere. I kind of doubt it ever since his niche and heist was removed, but he might be reaching the underrated realm. We'll see. He might actually be kind of okay in some cases. Actually, you know, he might live an additional hit against some snipers. Maybe not like all snipers, like Piper can still 2-tap, but for Bell now, if Crow's using shield gear, that's actually a 4-tap from Bell without damage gear or super, you know, buff, whatever, which is actually a pretty significant interaction change. Gus will still barely be able to 3-tap. We'll see. Who knows? Crow might actually maybe find a niche against sniper brawlers, but he still isn't going to be good in heist, so I don't really know why you would pick him, but I mean, yeah, whatever. And then next up, Rosa also getting a damage buff. Her damage is now increasing by like 80 at max level per punch from like 920 to 1000. It's all right. I think the problem with Rosa right now is she's just not as good of a tank compared to a lot of the other assassins and tanks in the game. But a lot of the other assassins and tanks, because they're so strong, you know, a lot of the tank counters right now got a bunch of broken hypercharges and are super strong to like balance out that axis of power. And so Rosa kind of suffers for a lot of the other tanks and assassins' sins. But a damage buff is still nice. I just don't think it'll really make her that much better, to be honest. She is still kind of used in some grassy maps sometimes, but it's rare. And I think it'll probably stay that way after this buff. And next up, we have a pretty major buff this time on Fang. So his super damage is increasing by 600 at max level. So now his hypercharge is also going to do way more damage too, and that is just going to make him potentially have a lot more team life potential. I still think he's going to be a little bit frail. Like I said, there's just so much damage in the game now, and even some snipers like Gus has that shield to like knock back assassins and stuff. A lot of snipers have ways to deal with assassins now, and especially with the gadget rework giving everyone unlimited gadgets, like Piper has unlimited auto aimer gadgets that knock back assassins. I don't know. A 600 damage buff is still pretty, that's a huge buff. His super now does more damage than his kicks at max level, because before his super did less damage than the kicks, but now they do more damage than the kicks. So he might actually be really good. We'll see. And then next up on the buffs list, we have KZ, sorry. She is getting a 400 HP buff. Golf claps to her. Is that going to make her a lot better? Probably not. Is that going to make her like way more survivable? No. I'm not sure how many interactions there exist in the game where Kaze would normally live on like 400 HP but barely get a kill. I'm sure they exist. She's a hard brawler to play. She'll still be a hard brawler to play. Increasing her HP by 400, I don't think it makes it even that much more forgiving either. I think she's going to be more or less unchanged, but pros will really enjoy playing her now more than ever. M's also getting a slight buff. Her damage on her main attack is now increasing by 80 at max level. It's alright. Actually, people do pick M sometimes on like Hot Zone and Brawl Ball. Like against Buster and Hank and the more like quote-unquote passive tanky brawlers, she can do quite a lot of damage and do pretty well. It's just against those really aggressive brawlers like Buzz, who can just dive on top of her, where she really struggles the most because that's where she deals the least amount of damage. A damage buff isn't really going to help her so much cover up her weaknesses. It's just going to make her stronger in the areas where she's good at. That's good, actually. I just don't think it's going to make the biggest impact on her place in the meta. Sam also getting a slight buff. Oh my god, wait, Sam buff? No way. And his hypercharge rate is increasing in his charge rate by 25%. That is a big buff. Is Sam back? We'll just have to wait and find out. Subscribe if you want to see me test out the Sam in ranked after the balance changes drop. Oh boy, so exciting. Finally, we have some content. We'll see if Mr. Fister himself will be able to fist everyone without pissing off Bell too much for cheating. Cordelia is also getting a slight buff. His HP is increasing by 400. It's the exact same number as Kaze. I mean, the Mushroom Man is kind of... He's not used that much right now, even though I think he's not even that bad. It's just his niche is a little bit draft dependent, where you kind of only pick him into very specific cases. And that still exists. It's just now he might be a little bit better in general against more stuff. It's a very slight change. I don't think it's going to matter too much, but it's still nice for any Cord players, for any existing Cord players out there. And then for the last buff in the ranked list is to Charlie. So her main attack range is being increased. It's actually being reverted back to what it was originally on release, where way back in the day, guys, Charlie's range used to be at 9 tiles, and then it was nerfed to 8.33 tiles. Now they're reverting that change and they're increasing her range back to 9 tiles from 8.33 tiles that it is right now. For context, a 9 tile range means she now has the same range as Gray. Still not quite like a sniper's range. Belle and Piper and stuff have a 10 tile range, but that's still a pretty meaningful buff. You might see her a lot more. People were already picking her on Heist, actually. Pro players were, at least. I'm not really sure why that is. Actually, that'd be a good video to test out. But she might be even better now in Heist, in like defending and stuff, with her spider spam too. It's funny that they like killed Charlie so hard way back since when she first released. She was so broken for so long. They just killed her supercharge rate, they killed her range. And now in this meta, after adding a bunch of new broken stuff, they're like trying to rebuff Charlie back up, see if she can handle the current meta. And so far, it seems like she hasn't been able to. It seems like old broken Charlie is somehow fallen off because of how strong the meta has gotten. Power creep is real, but maybe this buff will finally take her back over the top into becoming strong again. We'll see. Oh, and for the final slight change to ranked, so the elo loss from legendary 3 and above is being reduced. It's mostly flat elo now. I'm not sure what that means, but I guess now it's not going to be as variable. They've also reduced the time limit to meet the same opponents from 12 hours to 1 hour. So before, there is a system where in the matchmaking, if you play against someone, you can't play against them now for 12 hours. I believe that was in the same in trophies and ranked. The purpose of that is basically just to prevent like win trading, more or less. So you can't like queue up at the same time, face one guy, and then throw a game to make one guy have a bunch of elo and do that like really quickly. So they have to add some kind of cooldown, I guess, to prevent you from playing against the same person every time. But in ranked, because there's just so few players at really high elos, like above Master 2, 3, and in Pro. If you play against someone once, like now you can't play against them again for 12 hours. And that basically means for any people trying to do a big push, their matchmaking is like super high. It's like trade-offs here. On one hand, now matchmaking is going to be shorter, but also now win trading is more possible. We'll see if the sanctity of the Pro rank will be maintained. Obviously, if I'm able to hit Pro after this change goes through, then something is wrong with the system. This basically affects nobody except people at the highest level, so you probably don't have to worry about it, but I think this could be kind of interesting. This might help me in my push to Pro that'll be happening later, guys, this month. Stay tuned for that. Hopefully this means I can actually stream that and not have to worry about just sitting in matchmaking queue for like 30 minutes and playing Subway servers on the side or something. So that about wraps it up for the list of changes to ranked. And I think there's also like a funny little thing. I think Brawl Hockey is coming back, guys, as a 5v5 game mode. That's kind of interesting. But pretty much that's it for the list of changes to the base game. And now from this point on, I actually want to cover some changes to Brawl Arena because I think they're kind of interesting. I'm actually really glad to hear that this game mode is sticking around because I worked on this whole video for it and I was like, oh man, if this game mode gets removed, then I won't be able to publish the video on the main channel. But now it's sticking around, so now I get to upload that video. Yippee for me. And also, I really enjoy this game mode, and I have some friends who basically only started playing this game because this game mode came in. So now I get to still play the game with them too. This is awesome. I love this game mode so much. I probably won't make as much videos about it as I was before. Maybe the occasional one every now and then. But maybe if this game mode ever comes into like a ranked version, maybe then that would actually be so hyped, bro. That would actually be super fun. I'm curious to see what your opinions are, general people's opinions are on Brawl Arena, because I've been having a lot of fun with it, but most people seem to think it's kind of lame. Anyway, speeding through this because the NA monthly finals are starting in 10 minutes and I kind of want to watch that. The Kaiju's HP is being increased by base by another 10k. Now it's going to start off at 60,000 health and then increase by 10k every time it spawns in. Lane minions also getting a XP nerf. So they had buffed it up previously from 35 to 40. Now they're nerfing it down to 30. So I guess it gave too much XP to the lanes, they thought. Special minions too are actually also getting an XP nerf this time. From 75, those like big round robots, to 60 XP that you get per kill now. So lanes, I guess, were just too buffed. They decided this was too much, so they decided to nerf it down. I guess it's also like because junglers could take part in the lane XP too pretty easily just by standing in proximity. It just like didn't make sense, I guess, to like give them that much XP. But those are the changes. We'll have to see in game if that affects anything much at all. I have a feeling it's just like a very slight change. I don't think it'll make too much of a difference. Good players will still be able to ramp up XP. Oh, and that Kaiju buff too probably isn't going to make too much of a difference. Like, it's still going to get shredded. Maybe the XP nerfs and the Kaiju buff combined will make it so the Kaiju lives a little longer because brawlers will be made at maybe like a bit of a lower level. But from my experience, good players, as long as you get kills on enemy brawlers, like that still gives so much XP. That's like the bulk of the XP you get. I don't know. I think the Kaiju will still get shredded. Brawlers will still be at high levels. And then a bunch of individual brawlers are also being changed. For big nerfs, Maisie, Belle, Nani, and Rosa are getting big nerfs. Maisie, Belle, and Nani in their damage. So I think that makes a lot of sense. Maisie, Belle, and Nani did a lot of damage in Brawl Arena as they scaled up in level. Their HPs are also being reduced by a little bit across the board. It looks like about 50 to 100 for Nani. And that's per level up, by the way. That's fine. Those brawlers were maybe a little bit too strong for what they did, especially because those are like lane brawlers too. They were taking advantage of the high lane XP they were getting and just snowballing so hard and dealing so much damage. But one nerf that I wasn't expecting was a nerf to Rosa, actually. Her HP is getting a major nerf from 750 per level to 550 per level. I'm not really sure why I never saw Rosa in my Brawl Arena games, but maybe she was just a little bit too dominant in the mid to lower ladder. And then a few minor nerfs coming out are to Terra, Nita, Ashe, Barry, and Buster. Ashe already got a nerf, but now they're just decreasing his damage per level by like 1%. It's not that meaningful. Nita getting a slight HP and damage nerf, again by only 1%, HP decreasing by 100 per level. That's fine. Nita was honestly a little bit too strong. I think she'll still be pretty good. The main thing is right now, like her healing star power exploit you can do, where she just infinitely heals off of a jungle camp if she places her bear there. That's really annoying. I think they need to fix that. They haven't, so she's still going to be good. Terra, I'm honestly surprised to see the nerf for, because I thought she was low-key kind of like whatever. Towards the late game when everyone is so high speed, Terra super is really slow to travel, so I feel like it's kind of harder to hit people, it feels like, when the game progresses longer and longer with the Terra super to actually kill people with it. And also her pets from her gadget and her star power don't actually scale with levels either, so Terra for me was not really always that great of a pick. Like, she's really strong early game, but late game is like kind of So seeing her get nerfed is interesting, but I guess her win rates were too high or something. And the Barry and Buster nerfs make a lot of sense, guys. I was testing out Buster. He felt really good with his pull gadget, and his shield can block the base laser and just deal a bunch of damage to the base that way. So Buster was low-key really strong in the jungle. Barry also, you guys know, is insane in the lane. And so yeah, those nerfs coming out is nice, although they only get a minor HP nerf per level. Both of them get 100 HP nerfs per level. They'll both still be pretty good, I'm pretty sure. And now that brings us to the list of buffs. Most buffs are pretty minor. Now, I can go more into the individual buffs for all of these, but they're mostly boring. Like Tick is still gonna be shit. Bo is, like, I guess he's gonna be a little better, but who cares? Meeple is probably still gonna be pretty mid, maybe a little better, but who cares? Chuck, no one's gonna use him, who cares? Leon is going to be better, I guess, slightly. That's nice. He's going to be tankier, which I think is probably pretty significant for any Leon players. Frank is going to be a little more damage, but like, who cares? Fang is going to have a faster reload speed, but again, like, his super is kind of finicky in this game mode, so I don't really know if I would really love to use him that much anyways. Gus is going to get even better, even tankier, and deal more damage, so they really are pushing the Gus agenda in Brawl Arena, guys. Gus is going to be really... I think he's actually going to be pretty good in Brawl Arena now. Edgar is getting his HP buffed back up again, so that's cool for him. I don't know if he deserved it. I don't like facing Edgars in this game mode. El Primo, slight HP buff, but like, who cares? He's not bad, he's just not that interesting to play, but he's an alright jungler. I mean, he's okay. And then Max, Jean, Byron are getting slight damage buffs, as is Lou. Jean is still like, no one's gonna pick him there. Max maybe is slightly picked, as is Byron, so those are gonna be slightly better. Lou, nobody really plays in Brawl Arena, but I guess maybe he'll be slightly better too. And then Daryl and Stu are getting slight HP buffs, but again, who cares? I mean, people don't really play Stu. Stu's actually not bad with the Gas Heal. He's alright. Daryl, I don't know. I think he's kind of whatever. The Brawl Arena meta is basically not that changed. Like, Lumi's still probably really good. Jackie got a slight HP buff in the normal game, but in this game mode, she'll probably still be good early game a little bit. But although, dude, with the Doug hypercharge and reworks, oh my god, guys, Doug is going to be insane in Brawl Arena. Holy fuck. Get ready for the Doug apocalypse. My butthole, I don't know how much lube I'll be able to supply to myself in preparation for the fucking wiener, the sausage fest that's going to come when Doug gets his hypercharge, guys. Jesus Christ. I'm sad. I'm scared. Because his hypercharge is in the first round too. Dude, him and Kids and Lumi and RT. Oh my god. It's going to be a rough time for everyone. Hope you have 80 gems saved. So that's going to be it for me, guys, for the balance changes. If you enjoyed, subscribe. And if you want to see me test out all these balance changes, which I will be doing, subscribe too. And stay tuned, because that'll be a pretty fun time. And I'll also maybe, hopefully, be better by then, so I can actually seriously try to make a push to pro with more frequent streams. No promises, though. Take care of yourselves. I will see you in the next one. Love you. Bye. Peace. Mwah.